How did I even get here? Hi. Hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, welcome back. Hi, my name is Daphne. Just for those of you that are just coming in, I just got back from meeting up with some friends here in Vienna. We had drinks, then we had dinner, and then we had drinks again. And it was such a lovely evening. I'm so happy that I was able to do it. For those of you that do not know me, again, my name is Daphne Eugene. I currently live here in Vienna, Austria. I am a Haitian American woman in her 30s, been living here in Europe for the past 10 years, come February 21st. And I just want to come to you guys and talk to you and share with you how it all started. Like, it's just like, what are you doing in Vienna? It's one of the most questions I get asked. How'd you get here? And at one point I was asking myself, how is this my life? Like, well, how does a Haitian American Black woman get from Miami to Vienna, Austria? And for the next 21 days, I'm going to share with you the past 10 years. And I'm going to share with you guys everything from the application process to my thought process, share my fears, the lows, the highs, the ups, the downs, the roller coasters, the twists and turns, sleeping on my friend's couch for 5 months, finding an apartment on Craigslist on my way to California to culinary school, how I left Miami to move to Texas, from Texas to New York, from New York to California, from California to Germany, from Germany to Austria. I'm laying it all out on the line. And I can't wait to share with you guys all the stories and my intent for all of this is to share with you guys it's possible. For any girl, any woman, or any man that looks like me, my skin tone, you can do it. Like, you have it. Like, my intention behind this is to motivate you, to inspire you, to give you just, even if it's a little hope, to let you know that you can do it as well. And you can do it afraid. It's okay. You got this. You can do that. And so follow me on this journey. Stay tuned as I share with you all the nitty gritty. And you guys get to know me a bit better, and I hope I get to know you a little better as well. And I just hope whoever's watching this is able to, I hope you can get something out of this in any way. And whatever you can't get out, leave some for the rest. Take what you can, share it with a friend, and whatever is not useful to you, leave it on the table. Somebody else can pick it up. But in the meantime, let's start. So I had, okay, on my phone. And this series is like not curated a certain way. I'm just straight talking to you guys. And I did get a little help and asked a certain someone, Mr. or Mrs. Chatty Patty, a prompt, and just to kind of like, how do I stir this? How do I get this going, for the next 21 days? And I did 21 days because, it'll help my muscle. Every year, apparently, I do a series of 90 days or 60 days or whatever, where I just talk to the camera, or I do vlogs on YouTube, share my life here in Vienna. And what I realized that, especially on TikTok, I realized that I wasn't really sharing my life in Vienna. I obviously was just giving y'all little niblets of my life in Vienna. And I think I tried to mimic what's happening, or the trends, whatever, of what's happening in America. And obviously that didn't work, because what is my life here in Vienna? What is my life here in Europe as an American living abroad, as an expat, as an immigrant, living in a foreign country for the last 10 years. So I prompted Chatty Patty And these are some of the things that I do want to talk about and chat with you guys, and just kind of how it all started. Like, how did I get here? You know, what am I doing here? Why did I stay? And there's just so many questions. And of course, I welcome you guys to ask me more questions so that I can answer you guys and we can get to know each other a little bit more intimate. And that's what it is. So enough of that fluff. Let's get down into it. So for day one, okay, like why I left home and chose Europe. That's the central question. So if you are still here, you know I am from Miami, Florida, born and raised. I'm in a county a day, 305 all day. And both my parents are Haitian immigrants that migrated to America separately. They met in Miami, got married, had several children, and I was the last one. I was the baby. I'm a baby girl. And they did what they could, and was raised in Miami, learned, the culture, learned the American way, whatever. I left home at 17. I went to the University of Florida. Go Gators. And got a 4-year education in anthropology. That's a whole other story. Because some days I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working on my degree. Other days I'm just like, what am I doing with this degree again that I got? But my time at the University of Florida, baby, it was a time. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I did. And honestly, I'm not surprised that where I'm at, in a sense of looking at my adolescent years. I'm like, girl, you always been curious. You just been, let's try one semester. I decided one semester was all arts. I honestly went to the University of Florida to become a lawyer because my mother said she wanted to be. Now, y'all know, if you grew up Haitian or you grew up in a Caribbean household or you even grew up in an African household, you already know our parents are going to put these ideas in our head of what they want us to become. Oh, I always dreamed of having a doctor, a lawyer, a pastor. That was my mom's thing, and which was fine, you know what I'm saying? But even at an early age, I always played in creativity. I was always in the arts, and I was always, that was my thing. That was my jam. And funny enough, she was always the one cooking for the family events, for church, and that was her thing. Oh, by the way, I am a professional chef. I don't think I've put that out there yet. Professionally, that's my job here. I work at a beautiful hotel where I'm one of the chefs there, and I've been the chef for the past 11 years. And every time someone asks me as far as like, whoa, why did you become a chef? I always go back to the story of my mom and how she did it and how I grew up learning from her. Although, if it was up to her, I wouldn't be a chef. But back to being in college. So I went to college and I had a poli-sci major. That was the thing, because I was just like, what do you need to be a lawyer? What's the thing? And, poli-sci was one of the things. And then later I found out that you don't need a specific major. You can just go and then decide that later. And so once I found that out after my first semester, after I think I failed poli-sci, I took a semester where I did dance. I did modern dance. I did ballet. I did gymnastics. And I don't know if it was like creative writing or journalism, whatever, but I did everything that wasn't academic, so to say. And I enjoyed that year. I enjoyed that semester. I passed, I excelled on all those things. And then, of course, after that, I went back to the other academic stuff. But, so basically, yeah, I graduated from the University of Florida with an anthropology degree, a bachelor in arts, anthropology. Cool, I did that. But I was still trying to be a lawyer. I left. I graduated. I moved back home, and I think for 5 months I was back home, and I was depressed. I think it was my first bout of depression, and I didn't know it was depression at the time. I just knew I didn't want to get up from the bed because I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I applied for jobs, and in Miami, nothing. Just being back home after being in college for 4 years and having to be with my parents. I was just like, what is this? I was like, what is this? it was foreign to me because I wasn't used to it. I was like, ugh. But that was that. That really just how I felt. And all of this, every single step of the way, every single move, every single location I've been in, the jobs, the everything, it's all curated by God. All of it. At one spring break, me and my friends, we did a road trip up the East Coast, and I remember stopping in Brooklyn, and I think at some point I remember seeing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna move to New York. I remember before I even graduated school, I was like, I'm moving to New York. I want to go to New York. I want to become a lawyer in New York. I'm moving. And I remember having a dream, and I saw New York. And it didn't happen immediately as I thought it would have. But because for some reason, I took the test to become a lawyer, or I took the test to get into law school, and I did all that stuff. I failed every single one of them. One thing I'm gonna tell you: when your life is directed by God, there are things that are gonna happen. There's things that's not gonna happen, and it's later you're gonna realize, oh, okay, God, I see what you did there. Because listen, we gonna. Okay, we're gonna veer. We're gonna try to step outside. We're gonna do all this other stuff, and God is just gonna, girl, get back on get back on the right track. And so many times that's what happened. And so, although I did see New York in my dreams, whatever, and I just knew I was gonna live in New York. It was like one of those, not right now, because mentally I wasn't ready to live in New York. Because after college, I was not ready to live in New York. Okay. So 5 months I was depressed, and I remember I think towards like October, my brother had just moved to San Antonio. Well, he was about to move to San Antonio actually. He's in the military, and one of them is, and he's gonna move to San Antonio. And I remember the night before he called me, I had a dream, and he said, "Hey Daph, buy a one-way ticket for me. I'll come pick you up, and we're gonna drive to San Antonio." And so, but before then, because he was in Germany, I believe at the time, and before then, when I was at home, he mailed a lot of his stuff back home from Germany, and there were CDs of the current church he was attending in Germany, and the pastor would like make CDs of the sermon. And I remember playing, because I went to a Haitian church, and not that I didn't understand it, but it didn't connect with me. I was only going literally for my mother. I was like, all right, cool, we go to church on Sundays, I'm gonna go with you. But it just didn't connect with me. And so from time to time, I was playing the CDs, whatever, and stuff like that. And I remember, because after I moved from college, I like moved all my stuff was everywhere, all over the house. My shoe boxes was here, my clothes was there, stuff in the garage. I just had stuff, it was chaotic, okay? And I remember one time, clear as day, God was just like, get your house in order. And I know that, I think it's Shirley Caesar, get your house in order. Oh yes, do it today. And so I heard, and I remember I played the song, whatever, and this was all before my brother called. And so I started to, something in me just riled up, and I think between the sermon that I heard and the voice of God and just saying, get your stuff together. Many times when we're in certain situations where there's a cloud over us or whatever, stuff like that, we can't see clearly. There are moments that God needs you to clear out the past, clear out the chaos, clear out the noise so that He can do His move. Because oftentimes we want to take things with us from the past that don't fit us in the future. And that's what it is. And so I started selling my clothes. I started getting my shoes away. I was just literally get your house in order, And so that's what I did. And a couple of days later, my brother calls, said he's moving he had the dream where he called and said, buy a woman ticket. And literally the next day, my brother calls, and exactly how the dream went, he called me, buy me a ticket. He was like, okay, me and my mom were already in the process of buying myself a car. We got a car, and my brother came down, packed up the car with my stuff, and we made way to Texas, to San Antonio. Left Miami and moved to San Antonio, and I think that was 2012, maybe. Of course my battery's about to die because your girl didn't charge it. But if it's gonna die, that's fine. This is just a short intro, but that's part of the story. Come back for day 2 where I share more of the story and let you guys know, you know, I don't know how this 21 days is gonna go. I think this is a time to share my story and how I got here, how I spent my 30s in Europe and how it all started before that. And just when God tells you to move, move. When He tells you, there is so many times just God has spoken, and I'm just happy I was able to have an open ear and listen. And just know that you're not alone in this journey. You might think so, you might feel like that, but you're not. But before my camera dies, I just want to say thank you. Again, my name is Daph and we are starting our 21-day series of how did I get here as a Black American woman living in Vienna, Austria, living in Europe, navigating her 30s, or having navigated her 30s, how it all happened, how it's going to get, and getting ready for the next decade. Thank you again. Stay tuned and see y'all tomorrow. Tschüss. Okay.